action.
Welcome to Passion of the Digital Artist 19. That was my son, aka Marvin, on saxophone. This week, we're going to try me and Xavier. Say hi, Xavier.
Greetings, everyone, and thanks, Marvin.
In honor of my 22-month project finishing the painting part of the project, the actual physical completion of the project.
The social media series.
Right. So the social media, multimedia series. In honor of that, we're going to kind of experiment with the formula. Actually, me and Xavier have been thinking about maybe doing a radio show. And it's something, so we're going to try out that format a little bit. But I finished Fresh Market Decisions, which was the 10th painting that I finished with acrylics. It's a very monumentous occasion because of the fact that this is the first time I've been a commercial artist for most of my adult life, in a little bit starting when I was 16 years old, and I have done individual paintings and airbrushings and acrylics and pastels. I've done commercial logos on computers, airbrush commercial logos. I've done pretty much the whole gamut, except this here is my first real endeavor into a fine art series, and everything that's gone into it, I've learned so much. I've honed a lot of my skills, gotten back into my skills. The whole project, this whole project really is a defining of my career.
Jeff, now that you've finished with this series, and I know that you still have to market this series and everything that goes into that, but just talking about the production phase of it, what would you say is the biggest? You said you learned so much. What would you say is the single biggest thing you learned, or perhaps maybe totally changed your opinion of from 10 paintings ago when you started this? What was the biggest surprise?
Well, the biggest surprise was I've never worked on something consistently for almost 2 whole years. I've been at this, and I'm very surprised that the amount of passion and the amount of my whole being that I put into this project, and I've really never, there's been a couple times where I felt a little, maybe that I was going to get a little burned out, but I was able to stick through it, and from day one when I started this, the passion or the excitement over this project is just as much or more than it was the day that I was with my wife at the Macaroni Grill and I conceived the project in my head. It was exciting then, and right now finishing, I have to say my enthusiasm for this particular project is more so than it was, because there's a couple things that kept it going. There was the aspect of as this project went, from when you conceive something, you have a general idea, but the idea actually kept defining itself and redefining
evolving
itself. Right. So that part of it was so exciting that every time it redefined itself or it evolved, I would just get even more passionate and more excited.
What would you say was the biggest? Did you do any gear shifting midstream? Did something change in the way you went, or your idea, like say maybe when you I know it was a defining moment when you got them put on the big canvas before you started doing the actual physical retouching?
I would say that the way that the project unfolded is I knew that getting the digital images onto the large format canvas was going to be somewhat of an investment for me, and I didn't know initially where the money was going to come from, because when I first started this, I just had no idea how I was gonna. I had started saving but I also knew that it was a little bit more than what I was saving. So that particular part of the project was, I didn't know how that was going to play itself out, but it played itself out. It just kind of, that with this whole project, everything just kind of unfolded right in front of me.
You know, now when you have like all of these paintings, and we've panned over your house before with all the different pieces of this set, when you put the last drop of paint on Fresh Market Decisions and put the brush down, just tell me the feeling that you had.
Well, it was something, I would say that there was an aspect of it that I was very excited today, and the excitement of finishing probably came when I started painting. But because of the fact that there's a certain the paint, if I did this full time, this would be, I could do this fairly quick. The whole process is an awesome process that allows you to be fully creative and produce the artwork a lot quicker than if you were just physically painting acrylic paintings. I could probably finish a painting from start to finish if I put in about a week. And normally, if I was painting these from scratch and doing this type of work and coming up in concepting, would take me about a month. So you can finish a lot quicker. But what happened was, when I finished this part and I put that last drop of paint on, as you said, there was a certain aspect knowing that I need to now go forward, and I was a little bit sad because I enjoyed the painting part of this so much, and starting to redefine my skills as an acrylic painter. And from the first one, when I put the painting on the canvas, to the last one, my painting skills have become better. The acrylics I'm back at, and as in anything though, if you start to practice something, you get better at it. So my blending techniques on the backgrounds and putting down there, I have a lot more confidence. And I kind of had like a little bit of a sad feeling about it because of the fact that I'm not going to be acrylic painting for a while. These now have to get treated, framed. Then and while I'm getting that done, it's full out social media marketing.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about specifically this last painting, because we haven't talked about it like we've done all your other ones. And what I know about art myself is minuscule compared to your knowledge, but what I observe here is more of a move towards impressionism from realism. You have a little bit of realism, a lot of realism actually, in the faces and in the profiles of the people, but then it quickly fades to the sunlight and kind of a blur of colors and shapes and whatnot. I mean, it's very nicely done, but this is probably one of the more to the impressionistic side of more so than other paintings in the series.
Well, I did that on purpose. With this particular painting with her, as you can see, the most important thing is the subject matter of the people and what they're doing. So this is really, really busy back here. This was very busy. So what I wanted to do is take away the detail that was back there, and like you said, paint it a little bit impressionistic and a little more, and so that they would be way more in focus.
And I see. Okay, duh, it hits me right in the face. The emphasis here is Fresh Market Decisions, and you wanted to capture the expressions on the faces showing, okay, are we going to buy this or are we going to buy that? Do we want this? Do we want that? And therefore, the higher level of importance was placed on the expressions.
Right, and the decision there, this is a point of the reason why it's called Fresh Market Decisions, is because she's making a decision. She is at the point of making the decision of picking out the fruit that she wanted. And then the kids down there, that's just this particular painting was a no-brainer, and it was, as far as the facial expressions, and once you captured this image, you knew when you looked at this image that it had to be painted. There was no doubt about it. I mean, what's going on in this painting as far as the subject matter is one thing, but how everybody's interacting in this, although there's not much direct interaction amongst the people themselves, it's the one painting where I have someone looking straight at me. It's the one painting where, well, I've got another painting, the Steakhouse Fling, but there's the detail of the people are dealt with in a different way than some of the other paintings in the series where everybody's a little bit further away. So,
and not looking at you. That's a very good point.
Right. And this one, there's a certain aspect of intensity of this one, and that's probably why it was the last one, because of the complexity of it. I wanted to have my artistic skills completely and totally honed before I painted on it, because it was as far as the other ones, some of the palettes they were a limited color palette that stuck to pretty much a specific, each one had its own color palette, but this one, the colors are a lot more vibrant, and it's a much more colorful piece compared to the other ones. Now, the only other one that's a little bit closer is the Underwater Adventure, which it dealt with a little bit something close to that. So there you have it this week. We changed the format up a little bit. I hope you liked it, and I'm excited. It's finished. We'll probably put out a different vlog with the Social Media Hero next week, but this one is just based off of I finished.
This is the culmination of all your efforts over the last 2 years. Jeff, it's a magnificent job.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. Have a good week.